Third panel will discuss what it takes to cultivate women leadership at the ground level. The topic of discussion is women leaders of tomorrow. Are we encouraging them enough? This session will be moderated by Girish Huria, Executive Vice President, Growth and New Initiative, Avian WE and Western Region Chair PRCAI. He will be joined by Arushi G. Phillips, Corporate Communications Lead, FCB India, Priyanka Mehra, Director, Marketing and Communications, Havas Group India, Simran Kodesia, Country Communications Lead, Airbnb, Rohini Saldanha, Director, Corporate Communications, South Asia, Wunderman Thompson, and Saloni Shah, Head, Consumer Product Division, L'Oreal India. Over to you, Girish, sir.
Thank you. Suddenly, technology starts playing its own challenges. Thank you, Nehal, for the warm welcome and introduction. Okay, we've got Simran. I thought she was having some trouble joining in. Welcome, Simran. Welcome all to all panelists, and thank you, Adgully, for providing us the opportunity to have a great discussion around a topic which is about women leaders in India. Are we encouraging them enough? And I would actually start by asking my panelists to really share their views on this topic itself. Are we encouraging women leaders in India? And if yes, how? And more importantly, what are your organizations doing to encourage each one of you and the so many women leaders in your organization? So I would request each one of you to share your own views and thoughts around it, go around the panel, and then we'll take up the other topics. So we'll try and break up this entire panel discussion into two themes, which is about specific personal experiences of each one of you and some general observations and actionable items that we would like the women leaders to take of today and of tomorrow, both. So over to you, Priyanka. Would you like to share your own thoughts around this topic, and more importantly, how has it been encouraged in your organization?
Sure. Thank you so much. And thank you, Adgully, for kind of giving us a platform to speak about something that's close to all of us. So I think I have very confidently say that after completing 2.5 years within this organization, I know one thing for sure, that if you come with a certain expertise, you come with a certain skill set, you have a seat on the leadership table. Now, what you do with the seat, there's an equal opportunity to everyone who comes in, right? Doesn't matter whether you're male or female. So that's one. Secondly, we also kicked off Women Who Inspire last year, which is an initiative which looks at changing an entire cultural mindset, whether it is from a point of view of policy making, or it is initiatives, or it is, how we have biases, like, which we are not conscious of. So that is something that we are working on a leadership level. And I'm very happy to say I have 2 male colleagues on the core committee with us, because there's diversity of views with all the women that they bring in. We also kind of tied up with the UN chapter for unstereotyping. So we're also a member of that. So I am happy to kind of belong to a place where women leadership is encouraged, nurtured, and there's mentoring that happens within these programs. And you don't know something unless you've actually worked in the organization. I think 2.5 years is enough of proof that it is. And I'm extremely happy to bring about the change. Going back to the umbrella theme, right? Girish, this topic is so vast that maybe the whole day, all of us can sit and speak, because there's so much to do. And I would like to speak about this topic later, but I've just kind of put it there, and the rest of the people can kind of add to it. There is a lens of equity, not equality, that we need to look at, right? So when you're saying, are we doing enough? I think everybody, and I'm optimistic about it, because there's a lot of awareness. There are conversations like these that are happening, and people are, when you talk about something, you're likely to do something about it as well. You hear it so many times. Amplification is happening. You know the right to the wrong easily. right? You know something's off. We know that what happened 2 years ago as well. So my point is, we need to change the way we collectively look at something, because to have an equal way for both the genders to kind of achieve things in professionally, personally, first you need to get them to a level of equity. Equality will follow. So I think there's a lot that is happening. There's a lot that can happen, and there's a lot that we can speak about. But I will kind of leave it at that and let my colleagues kind of take over. Girish, you're on mute.
Girish, you're on mute.
I'm sorry, I said I love the fact that you spoke about equity and equality will follow. I think that's a fantastic headline to take. Rohini, your thoughts on the topic, and most importantly, what is it that your organization is doing around this whole conversation?
Absolutely. Thank you, Girish, and thank you, Adgully. While we're headed in the right direction towards building an optimal gender balanced workforce, we still have miles to go. I truly believe only when you empower and enable women to be their confident best will a revolution be underway. But to come to your question, are we encouraging women leaders enough? I think that question still remains relevant because subconscious biases exist in every organization in varying intensities. So more often than not, owing to societal expectations, responsibilities, pressures, women take extended breaks, drop out of the workplace. And there have been also incidents in companies where people have reservations about hiring women because they might go on maternity leave for an extended period. So I think the first step in that direction is to remove any unconscious or conscious biases that surface in any part of an organization. And you have to do that through a concerted and sustained effort over a period of time. And we need to actively work in identifying these biases. We need to invest in diversity and inclusion training programs and pave the way towards a more balanced gender approach. But the ultimate goal, and this is the ultimate, should be in attaining workplace gender equality, where a woman shouldn't have to choose between sacrificing her home or work domain owing to the competing demands of both. To give you a sense of what we do at Wunderman Thompson, diversity and inclusion, to just tell you, has always been an integral part of what we do at Wunderman Thompson. It's, as a company, we've always been welcoming and supportive of women at the workplace across levels. In fact, our leadership team, of which I'm part of, is a 50-50 ratio with an aim to move towards a 50-50 split across our entire workforce within 2 years. And gender balance in teams has become a non-negotiable KRA for all team leaders. As an organization, another thing that I feel is important, because I keep talking about, is not only about being, empowering women, but you have to give them a safe environment, and that's what we do at Wunderman Thompson. We relentlessly pursue our commitment in providing a harassment-free and safe workplace for women. When they feel safe and they feel supported, will they thrive? And that's what we do at Wunderman Thompson. We've in fact conducted a whole host of gender sensitization programs to build empathy amongst genders. We're always constantly on identifying biases and creating a more balanced gender ratio. In fact, we support our women employees and go out of our way to help them manage their family and work life. There's something called life state support that we do. I'm not going to go into details. I'll just give you a quick run through of our programs. Another one is that we have something called Pass It On. Pass It On is it's an experiential program that has been designed to maximize individual potential, deliver personal impact of senior women leaders, which focuses on their goals and value alignment. Over the last couple of years, we've had programs like Shah, which is an inclusive and democratic networking platform for all our women across the group to inspire each other, empower each other. We proactively thought of harassment, how it insidiously creeps into the virtual workplace. It's not about the physical workplace. There have been complaints even in the virtual workplace. And we've accordingly conducted workshops for employees so that women could recognize sexual harassment in a virtual setup. We've also successfully conducted one-on-one mentoring programs for our women. There's something that we have called the Helen Lansdowne Razor Scholarship, which awards about $10,000 for selected female students who are pursuing an art program. So we've really gone above and beyond when it comes to supporting women, empowering them, and maximizing their output.
Lovely. I think there's a whole host of initiatives that your organization is undertaking, and kudos to that. Simran, we were talking about empowering women and really getting a seat at the boardroom. And I think one of the things that we spoke about is what are the things that we should be doing, or what are the things that organizations are doing currently that attract women leaders like you. Would you like to share some aspect of things that are happening at Airbnb and how they are encouraging women leaders like you?
Sure. Thank you, Girish, and thanks, Adgully and Vijaya, for having me here. I am Simran, and I lead communications for Airbnb in India and Southeast Asia. So, Girish, just to sort of share, Airbnb is a global community platform. So we're essentially based on people-to-people connection. 55% of hosts on our platform are actually women. So, we can never ever be a platform which has any, biases towards males, because, most of our community, which represents the brand, which makes the company what we are today, is because of our women community. When it comes to, taking care of its employees, Airbnb has, diversity and belonging at the helm of its core values. And culture is something which always comes top down. And our founders are extremely committed to the fact that every employees, and diversity in today's day is not just about gender, but it's about communities, it's about parenting, like Rohini just mentioned. It's about women coming back to work after maternity leave and then feeling welcomed, and not feeling that they've sort of missed out on an opportunity to be promoted or raised, so or a good raise. So I think some of those things are extremely critical in making sure that women leaders of today are encouraged, and we're encouraging women leaders of tomorrow. One thing that we do at Airbnb, and I sort of lead the women at chapter for APAC, all across APAC countries, is that this chapter essentially is a small community of women employees across Airbnb offices, where we do these monthly chats called Lean In. Lean In is a book which was written by the Facebook COO, Sheryl Sandberg. So we have these Lean In communities where we actually talk about work-life balance. We talk about, how to ask for that raise from your boss. How can we sort of do better in, becoming better spokespeople for ourselves? Most of us are comms professionals here. So we speak very well for our companies, but, do we speak in the same way for ourselves? So some of those things are, what are encouraged. Those themes are encouraged, and it is very definitely a place where we don't really see bias against women. In fact, we're an equal opportunity employer, and I'm extremely proud to be a part of this company.
Lovely. I like the adage lean in. I think there's a lot of depth in that concept and thought. So I'm probably going to pick up some of these ideas and use them sometime later. Saloni, you obviously lead a very, very a business which is mostly targeted at the woman itself, but clearly, and the organization itself stands a lot for the women community. So, your thoughts on encouraging women leaders, and what's your organization doing?
So I think, yes, Girish, we come from beauty, but as L'Oreal, I think there are a few things we do right. I think the number one is that we focus on ensuring diversity. Diversity is, at the core of our business. And today we want to create products which are for people from all walks of life. To ensure that, we have products from all walk of life, I think it's also important that our team members must be as diverse and inclusive as the world itself. And I think this is something that we give a lot of focus on. We foster workplaces where people from all ethnicity, social backgrounds, religions, gender, age, etc., feel welcome. So I think this is the number one thing, that we do, and we have a lot of programs around this.
I think the second thing that we do well as L'Oreal is also in order to ensure equality at the workplace, right? There are a lot of programs that we undergo as managers in terms of, how you hold conversations, what are the do's and don'ts, what's appropriate and what isn't, because there are a lot of subconscious biases we have at the back of our head, and this is done in order to tackle that, and I'm very happy to share that as L'Oreal, we are EDGE certified. We are the only FMCG company in the country who has got an EDGE Move certification for 3 consecutive years. And this certification is awarded to companies who have implemented a framework of change and at the same time achieved significant milestones. So to your question, to say, are women leaders encouraged enough, or are enough women encouraged? I think the answer is yes. And lastly, in terms of ensuring support, as a woman is going through her own personal journey, I think L'Oreal has a beautiful program which is called Share and Care, where there is help which is given across the whole journey, from assisting with maternity leave, of course, which is the most basic right, to medical assistance to crash facilities. And I think, the proof is in the fact that today 90% of women who go on mat leave come back to, their jobs and come back to and resume their own positions at L'Oreal. So I think there is enough that L'Oreal is doing when it comes to encouraging women leadership and ensuring that there's diversity in everything we do.
Awesome. Thanks, Saloni. Arushi, yesterday when we were talking, you obviously were very proud of the fact that your organization had possibly the only CCO as a woman leader across the ad world in that sense. So I'm assuming from that place to today where you are in your organization, I'm sure there's a lot that's happening. Would you like to share what is your organization doing to really encourage women leaders and move from that one CCO to many such leaders in the organization?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Girish. So I'd just like to say, I think we're just moving forward on the way to having more Swatis in our organization and in advertising as an industry as well. So actually, nice that you picked up the example of Swati, and I would just like to emphasize on this point that many people may claim they have these policies and all of those other flexi hours and all those other initiatives. But what really is needed is empathy and a good culture, which an organization has. So I really want to focus on culture, because culture is not something that you can hang on the walls of your office. It is something which comes from within, and actually it is the people. So if you talk about culture of an organization, it's in its people. So so that is what I would like to focus on, that since Swati joined us in 2016, that is when she took over the role of a CCO. And today she is the most awarded, most celebrated Indian and global CCO. So all of us in the industry, all of us in the agency really look up to her. And it is when she joined FCB, she was able to explore her full potential and be what she is today. Some of the amazing campaigns that have come out, like Shindur Khela, I don't know if all of you have seen it or not. It's about changing a 400-year-old tradition and talking about inclusion and diversity. So that is what we do here, because if you have a good culture that helps you grow, that gives you the freedom, the creative license, the security, that is when a person will be able to thrive and excel at what they do. So, yeah.
Awesome. So empathy and having the right culture is what you believe will really help organizations drive home the change. From that particular section, I'm now going to, in the interest of time, I'm going to ask each of the panelists specific views around certain areas, and so that all the panelists get a voice in, and we are also saving time in that sense. So but the next topic is all about general observations and what should be the actionable agendas. And we obviously heard a lot about all your organizations doing so many initiatives to make sure that there is empathy, there's the right culture, there's the right framework, the policies, etc. However, despite all this, right? I mean, there are studies that are coming up which have divergent views, but one of them that I picked up a couple of days ago was this whole LinkedIn survey, which talks about the fact that 85% of the Indian women still miss out on the raise or a promotion. And despite having all the right policies, despite having all the right environment that organizations are trying to build, why is that this feeling that still exists within the community to say that, hey, are we getting the right promotion? Are we getting the right raise? And I think Simran spoke about the fact that we also talk about helping women ask what is required for their own good, right? So despite all this happening, why do we see such data points coming through where people are still really focusing on saying, do we get the right raise and do we get the right promotion? So, I'm going to throw this observation open to Rohini, Simran, and Priyanka in any order, whoever wants to take it. Rohini, you want to go first? Okay, Priyanka, you unmuted yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm familiar with the study that you're referring to. So while we were formulating policies in terms of looking at more women-friendly, what can we do despite everything that we provide? It is more evident that the age between 30 to 40, you see the women not being able to jump to the next level after having done various things. And as we all clearly know, a woman's work life cycle is distinctly different from that of a man, right? So obviously there are various reasons in terms of at that particular time, by the time you're 35, you're ready for your promotion. You also possibly want to raise a family, you want to settle down. So this prioritizing in this, I would attribute that as a large point to possibly missing a promotion, because it depends where you work, what you do, and where you are in your life cycle in terms of the choices you're making. But a lot of women, and there are women leaders across the spectrum, I myself have known and spoken to, that this does happen. So then what is it that we kind of do? So a couple of things that we are working and we are doing in terms of suggestions and takeaways, that when someone possibly comes back, whether it's a sabbatical, in this 2 years, and I have to narrow it more to you, maybe 35 to 40, because we're talking about raise, promotion, going to the next level, right? So when I come back, maybe or maybe not, I am ready to take the kind of pressure I have been taking 9 months, 6 months, a year before. I may have not wanted to raise a family, but something else, I'm taking a sabbatical for. So is there another person who can take, and I run a P&L. So then is there a person, a second in command, who can kind of take half the pressure off me? This is also the person who I'm co-opting to kind of be there while I'm there. And this is why there's a two-way communication with you and your organization to be able to say, I want to come back because the culture is transforming, your culture is open enough to have a conversation. And this person, Girish, this is what can be the game changer, and where it is, that person is also a woman, so you're constantly also having a second rung of leadership. These people are working together, and I am being very practical. Sometimes this may or may not be possible, right? But this is something that is a co-opt possibility where there's a partnership. So someone's also feeling extremely comfortable. So while there's a lot of an offer of upskilling yourself constantly, this is what organizations like us are providing. Secondly, I think we constantly talk of hard skills and do stuff, with a lot of research also shows that as women, we carry a lot of baggage and guilt, which comes of conditioning, right? It may be the most educated, the most well-read, travel exposed, doesn't matter what your income bracket is. You wear a suit doesn't mean you're confident. And these research studies show that. So organizations need to also kind of help you with soft skilling to instill that level of confidence. Like Simran was sharing, how are you going to ask for a raise where somewhere you're doubting yourself? And I'm not talking about a different level, I'm talking about the highest level of leadership. So a lot of these factors contribute to the question that you're asking and the inferences that are coming out of the study. So it all kind of ties in together. So our organizations are working, our organization is working on all these things. And, I think collectively what I've heard we are, but I think sometimes it's sensitization to what someone's going through when they come back, like the softer, more human touch as well. And that needs to also like a sensitization. So we have a mentorship program, right?
Mhm.
So, but who's going to sensitize the mentor to, the mentees that they are coming back to something? So I think a combination of hard skills and soft skills would be something that would really help these situations.
I love the thought of saying that those who are mentoring, they also need to be sensitized. And I think that's a very, very valid point that you're making, Priyanka, because organizations forget that it's a sum of whole, right? And it's not about uh, somebody who's in a role that he's supposed to or she's supposed to mentor means that that
Right.
person is also not getting impacted. So I love that point. Uh, Rohini, do you want to take a stab on
Yeah,
that
sure.
as well? Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Girish. So I funnily happened to go through the report myself. It popped up on my LinkedIn feed. So I found it was a very interesting one and something that we kind of all knew existed, but shed light on how long that road to the equality still is for female employees. And some of the reasons that women have cited that come in the way of their career that I just want to talk about is workplace discrimination because of household responsibilities, something that Priyanka spoke of. Lack of guidance. I think this is something that really, I wouldn't say resonated, but I can definitely relate to lack of guidance through networks, and that gender is a barrier when it comes to attaining future opportunities. Now, while we're aware of this, these are a few things that just the top of my mind, I can think of that organizations can do is to provide all organizations need to provide a level playing field for attracting, for hiring and retaining talent. Now, there should be no other criterion for hiring or promoting people other than their skills and talents. And companies need to be, I know most of them put it up in their contracts, on their websites, that they're equal opportunity employers when it comes to employment and growth decisions, but it has to necessarily mean that, and it should be seen in your gender representation and gender ratios, right? On skills, competencies, merit, and potential, and that's the only determining factor. Moreover, to ensure that women don't miss out on growth opportunities, I think companies need to seriously look at reskilling. That is when you come back and upskilling women, something again that we've all spoken about, but especially I feel at mid-management levels, so you're groomed for senior roles. Now, companies need to reimagine their diversity practices and offer, I know with work from home, that's become a reality in 2020 about work from home, leveraging technology to maximize our potential, but offering, I think, greater flexibility to caregivers, provide reduced and flexible schedules, and more sabbaticals such that women can fulfill their family obligations and feel professionally enriched and fulfilled and their authentic selves at work. But one thing I want to just touch upon, Girish, is that I feel, and that's our theme at Wunderman Thompson for Women's Day, is allyship. And I always believe women can be women's best allies. But in reality, and having come from a hardcore PR background, I can tell you that's not the case. Women can act, and that's a fact. I'm being honest here. I find when you have a direct reporting, luckily I have a boss who is a man and who's very supportive. But in the past, you do have women who are not necessarily supportive and encouraging and things like that. So what I feel organizations need to do is have men in senior leadership roles who advocate a holistic work environment for women to ensure equality, support, and parity. And that's important because you have men in these at top positions in companies, not necessarily women. And I think sort of sensitizing them and having an encouraging, supportive environment so that women can be their best selves at work.
Fair. Thank you. Simran, I'm just going to shorten this for you because, it's a fantastic program that you guys are running, which is around asking for the right salary or compensation. So if you could throw a little bit more light in terms of what's the program, what is it being done, so that all the people who are listening in can learn from it, because we've spoken a lot about empathy, creating the right environment, mentoring the people, so on and so forth. But I think if there is a good example that's around from your organization, then why don't you talk about it?
Sure, Girish, and I really echo what Priyanka also said, and I would like to touch upon a little bit on that with a small incident that I'd like to narrate. So I follow Indra Nui and her posts. I used to really follow her. She's one woman leader that I sort of look up to. So she always talks about that women possibly maybe can't have it all. She's come out and openly said that she feels guilty about not going to all PTM meetings for her children because she was in board meetings for Pepsi. When she was first announced the global CEO, she actually called her mom to tell her that I've become the global CEO. The mom said that all of that is great, but there's no bread at home, so make sure you pick that up first and then we'll come and talk. So this bias doesn't necessarily exist with men or people we work with. I think it is a poor roommate that we all sort of live with every day, which is which also comes from within us, that sometimes we keep doubting ourselves and we keep looking for this external validation. So when we have to ask ourselves, can women really have it all, it's up to us to believe that. When come, and obviously, like Priyanka said, that your biological clock and your career clock are literally ticking at the same time. So I think it's just important to have some bit of perspective on what is important at what time. So I think not to have if you don't have a raise this year but you want to start a family, can you wait for that raise next year? So I think just always look at your life in some bit of perspective, not with the next 6 months, but always have a 2 to 3 year horizon with where you're going. In fact, if last year has taught us anything, I think it has taught us that life is very uncertain. So don't try and plan too much in life, because nothing's going your way anyway. So just try and go with the flow. To what you just mentioned, Girish, so that essentially is like a Women at, which is like a global chapter. So all offices sort of have a Women at lead, and we sort of have these lean in conversations every month where we sort of it's an open forum where women can talk about it. I'm heading for a performance appraisal and I do think I need a promotion. How do I ask my boss? And then like we're all of us sharing our experiences here. People from different countries can actually share their perspective, and you'll be surprised that the story from other global counterparts is not very different from what it is here in India. So I think it's literally coming of age for women across the world and not just here. I think we have to first sort of be champions for ourselves, ask for what we think we deserve, and I absolutely believe that women can actually have it all.
Lovely. Thank you, Simran. During the course of this conversation, a lot of you came up with this word, which is called unconscious bias, right? And that exists, whether we accept it or not, but it is still around. So I'm going to actually ask both Saloni and Arushi to really throw some light on what are these subconscious biases and how do you see that playing out on a daily basis in your organization?
So Girish, there are many, right? And I think the list goes on. There are biases that can range from sexism to stereotyping. For example, assuming that women will not be able to take up certain kind of jobs, and I just heard a panelist earlier speak about, one of the roles linked to collection and saying that it was never meant to. Yeah. Exactly, right? It's not something a woman can do, but that's changing today. Or for that matter, the women will not be able to give 100% to their work once they have children. And like Simran just mentioned, the clocks are always ticking. I don't know for what reason, but they always are somehow. So there are, many of these biases that exist very much today as well. And I think they largely exist because of a pattern, right? Because of years of conditioning that we've all been through, whether it's in communication you see, or from the time, a mother or parents know that they're expecting, and you start color coding life. You start color coding everything. You start compartmentalizing things to say, hey, it's a boy, it's going to be ABC. It's a girl, I'm going to do XYZ. And I think that's where the actual change will need to happen if we want to see things differently a few generations down the line. Because like it or not, no matter whether you walk the talk, whether you make changes culturally that come top down, bottom up policies, everything said and done, but till you don't change this conditioning, until we don't act upon it from the time kids are born, I don't think there'll be years of having the same kind of conversations. It will change maybe from when women to transgender to something else at some point in time. So yes, they exist for men, women, for everybody, and I think the only way to change it is to change it from the root itself.
Wow. That tells me that I got to go back to my son's school. Okay, Arushi, your point of view.
Yeah, very rightly said, Saloni, and thank you, Girish. I'm basically in agreement with everything Saloni has said, that we're all humans, and this is the way that we've been brought up, and this is how our conditioning and the society around us has been laying down rules for us, and this is how people function. And even in an organization or a agency, which is a multitude of people, wherein these people are coming from different backgrounds, different cultures, different societies, so definitely they have those unbiased subconscious and subconscious and unconscious biases that do dominate their thinking process and whatever they say and do. So I think what can be done to tackle them is, it's a long way to go, and the society overall needs to change. And it's just not a small effort, a company, an organization changing and leading up the way, but then the entire ecosystem needs to change, because this is more or less a chain effort, a chain reaction. In a conversation that was going on just before our session, there was another person who said that in meetings where men are there and they don't see women, they need to raise their voices and they need to say that where are the women? Women also need to be a part of this meeting and conversation. So that is exactly what it is. And to be very honest, there are a lot of biases that I see in advertising agencies as well. For instance, Saloni would also...
Sorry, Arushi, you got to be crisper because we are one final... Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so I was just saying about biases that, for instance, it's a makeup brand. So we say that, oh, only a girl will be able to handle this well because it's a makeup brand. So these biases come from within, because that's the way we've been conditioned, and that is something that comes immediately to our mind. So yeah.
Fantastic. So we all spoke about, I think one of the things that I've been hearing is that there are these biases, there are things need to change. Yes, there are many things that need to change, but let me put you guys in a spot. What, according to you, all five, are the 2 or 3 action agendas that you want to do to make that change? So it's very easy to say that the organization should be doing this, or the workplace should be having this, and grassroots level of education be changing, but let's have some clear agendas and action points for each one of you to say, here are the 2 or 3 things that we will do from here on to encourage women leaders. So crisp, because I think we're running short of time, so probably 1 minute each for each one of you.
I think one of the most important things that we need to do is, as women, we need to start supporting women. I think that's where it all needs to start. I think everything else will be taken care of if that drive is done right, very well.
Thanks, Rasika. Priyanka, you want to take a stab quickly? Yeah. 2 action agenda points.
2 action agenda points is drive equity first and then equality clearly. And that is basically changing perception and getting people to understand, driving mentorship programs at a very formative stage when women come into the workforce in their 20s, because that really matters. And that's when you change a lot of biases, you get them ready, instill a sense of self-confidence. So I think these were the I have to add a point to your bias, which I really want to change. I know we're running out of time. Is the biggest bias we face, and this is to Simran's, the wonderful initiative that Airbnb runs, is the bias is that man is the breadwinner and woman is a caregiver. So all these things that we're kind of grappling with various levels, if you're pushing, confidence or self-confidence getting hit or guilt feeling, that's all the conditioning that we're kind of grappling with. So a lot of, I think that's one of the biggest biases that which is subconscious and needs to change at a fundamental level. And I would link that back to the headline I started with to say equity and not equality to begin with.
Lovely. Thank you. Rohini, quickly, your action agendas. You're on mute, Rohini. Sorry.
I think fostering an environment of learning and growth, creating that ecosystem of trust, having women, driving a circle of influence for women, and they could be women mentors, women partners, and navigating a very structural growth path for them to unlock their full potential. And I highly feel safe and supportive work environment. I stress on that. Only when you feel safe can you be at your ultra best in an organization.
Simran?
Sure, Girish. I think first off, most definitely mentorship and allyship. I think it's very important for us to understand that biases are not in a man's head. If you start looking at them as an ally, you definitely have a better chance of getting wherever you have to. Be clear in your communication. And I think most important thing is be a champion for yourself. If you're ever sitting, if you ever have a seat at the table, just know that you're on that table because you've earned that spot. So don't so stop second guessing yourself and be your own champion.
Awesome. Arushi, two action agendas or one action agenda? Topmost.
Yeah, I'd like to say that emotional and psychological support to women should be something that should really be focused on, because no matter how many policies you have in organizations, if the person loses the battle in their head, in their mind, I don't think they're going to pursue anything else. So I think this should be the focus agenda.
Excellent. Saloni, your views, two action agendas.
I think for me, Girish, one is to walk the talk, right, and be more empathetic as a leader. I think it starts with that in my immediate circle of influence. So I think that's something I would like to be more mindful about. And I think second, maybe on a much larger level, not directly linked only to leadership, is to do something which is linked to education at the grassroots level, for girls. And maybe take more initiatives there. So over the next few years, this is surely something that I want to focus on.
Okay. I'm just going to summarize, but we've got one question which is out there. But before that, let me just ask this question, and any one of you can take it. Is what about when you're working with someone and you guys are doing good work as partners together, but there is still a hint of sexism, ego battles, constantly cutting and mansplaining? What should I do? Work with men as partners or leave and start my own team with women? Go women, go girls. So anybody wants to take that?
I would just say that, don't lose your voice. We're in the 21st century. There's no time for mansplaining. There's no time for somebody to tell you that, you should have a only women team to sort of build your life. So be your own champion. There's the time for mansplaining is gone. That era is over.
And I think, just on the sexism, and I think today organizations have clear policies to raise a voice around sexism at workplace. So I think, Disha, maybe this is the time for you to raise your voice as well and really walk around with the policy on that front. And that would be my piece of advice. But just to close this discussion, what I'm taking away is equity and equality will follow. Create empathetic environment that will help solve both psychological needs as well at workplace. Create mentors and make sure those mentors are equally sensitized towards what women face at workplace so that they can grow and obviously encourage more. Lastly, and more importantly, be a champion for yourself. I think that's the critical piece. So with that, thank you so much, all of you. And it was lovely and pleasure. Over to you, Nehal. Thank you, Adgully, for having
Thank you
us
so
for
much,
this panel.
Girish. It was great.
Thank you, Girish. Thank you, Adgully.
Thank you, Adgully.